Yo, what up, chat? Respect. This is Elray Patrick, and it's kind of crazy. I'm starting again from scratch. It's November 1st, and it's another day one. Cue Red Velvet. I'm just kidding. But I just spent like, I think, close to 40 minutes of writing just now, and it's really something that I'm really, really excited about because since the whole October, I decided to start writing again every single day so that I'll be able to somewhat figure out what I wanted to do with all the ideas that I've had ever since I was young. And I just saw this post from Eight Letters, which is what's up, that they're like offering this free publishing something blah 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 stuff if you start like working on and doing updates like this every single day for the whole month of November. So I find that it's an opportunity for me to somewhat do. And crazy enough, I've been doing it the whole month of October, and it gave me like the confidence and the courage to not really just overthink it because I've been doing it. So I thought first if I could just do the previous month, but I really have to start from scratch for the entire month of November so that I'll be able to join the competition of sorts. And so I didn't take this as a negative. Instead, I feel like it's an extension of what I'm trying to do because what I'm doing for the month of October is like a semi autobiographical kind of story about a man trying to have these fictional conversations with people that uh, he never met and people that shaped the person that he is today. So, other than that, I have had this idea ever since I was in college about different aspects of culture of the Philippines, and at the same time, this fictionalized world wherein you could see all the wonders of life and all the wonders of our culture and history before colonization. And as I have mentioned yesterday, I actually went to Ayala Museum like spontaneously without any intentions, and I do not have any idea about what they have in their vicinity. So when I went to the fourth floor, which is the beginning of the exhibit, the first thing that I see are artifacts and accessories of early Filipinos, which is mainly about um, like those bracelets, all those stuff, and earrings, and all those beliefs that they have, not only in government but also with afterlife and so on and so forth. So I've had this idea before, and one of the reasons why I wanted to really use this as for the month of November is because I feel like if there is ever one book or novel idea that I have to realize, it's this one. So the concept that I have so far, I listed it here to make sure that it's going to make sense. So the working title that I used to have for a long time is called The Universe Within You. And now I put that as a parenthesis, and the title that I have is The Voyager instead. And I'm writing it in first person because I'm comfortable with that. And I guess I would have to, I think that's the thing about writers, you keep writing about yourself. So it's difficult for me still to write in third person. So I prefer writing in first person because most of the books that I've been reading for research for years now is in first person. Funny enough, I've been reading a lot of books, and the sole reason of that is so that I'll be able to write books. And I've never done that my entire life, just this year that I've really just pursued it, other than the poetry books that I've done before that I just made for myself. But other than that, the idea of this is I cannot, of course, explain the entire story, but the idea that I have is greatly inspired by my appreciation of animated films, most specifically those of Makoto Shinkai and Hayao Miyazaki. I really love how they built up these worlds and these wonders, specifically with at times wherein they have these stories that just dives in deep with elements of the beliefs and culture of Japanese people and integrating that in the storyline to tell stories and deepen the characters. So I wanted to make sense of those inspirations to build up this universe so that I'll be able to give props both to the Filipino heritage and at the same time with the story that I would like to tell, because at the end of it all it's a Filipino story. But the craziest thing is it's a life story, I guess, because one of the greatest things that I have done is read Divine Comedy from Inferno to Purgatorio until Paradiso. Paradiso is one of my favorite books. It's something that I just finished this year, and I because of that experience that I've had, I wanted to create something like that too, like that kind of experience of traveling with one person until he reaches this particular place, which is paradise. I wanted that kind of idea for these characters, for them to go from this point to another. That's why I like the idea of it being called the Voyager, because it's basically like a traveling story, and it's more about going to places you've never been and probably will never be in. And I just want this as like a metaphoric kind of and cathartic feeling of dealing with things that you struggle to talk about. Specifically, as a man, you struggle to talk about this. But then when you think about that, it's not just about being a man, it's just about being a human being in general. There are feelings that you cannot just put into words or express, even when you're with people that you're close with. So, for you to figure out how to deal with that, you go onto a journey, you voyage. And as to where you voyage, that's up to the world to decide. So that's what I'm writing right now, and I was able to actually write the prologue for it. So currently it looks like this. I am finally learning how to use Google Docs. So I have plans and details and then prologue. So I have 2 pages of prologue, and it's actually like 800 pages already. Plans and details, I have it here. And for the concept of the book, I took inspiration with Children of the Mind by Orson Scott Card, because what he did with that is he has the title of the chapter, and then he has like a passage and then the story. Instead, what I made use of here is my skills in poetry. So I have the title called, like, for example, prologue, and then followed by a haiku. I was intentionally thinking maybe I'll change the haiku into a tanaga, which is like a Tagalog poem or form of poetry that is 7 by 7 by 7 by 7. Like, it's equivalent that way, but it's a difficulty for me because I haven't written in Tagalog in a while. So I think it's also beautiful that this is not in Tagalog, because I think that makes it something different and somewhat. I don't think it has to be in Tagalog for it to be a Filipino story. There's something in it. And I was at first thinking if, like, I knew that this thing has been brewing with me for years, because I literally have a folder in my old Google Drive called articles, where I just screenshotted a lot of Wikipedia articles that I've never read, which is basically about different beliefs of Filipinos. And those things I cannot really just blurt out, because kind of makes the story nonsensical. But I think at first, the original idea that I had, which is like almost 10 years ago, I found screenshots of it that I actually talked to a stranger with. I don't know who this person is. I was just like, he was just like, yo, you have an idea for a story, right? So I was like, yeah, I do have an idea for a story, and this is the story. And he was like, okay, that sounds nice. That's how his reply was. So I knew it was terrible. So I'm not kidding. He's now a Facebook user. I think you can see the screenshot here. He's not a Facebook user, so I have no idea who this guy is. I just knew that I sent it to somebody. I don't know who this person is, and we never really had other conversation other than this idea. Maybe it's a peer from college, because I was still in college with this one. It's November 20, 2018. How poetic is that? And so I never wrote it, never even tried writing about it. So we'll see where it will lead us. So I have no idea how to design it, and I just had an epiphany earlier actually on how I would like to write it now. Like, before, I would like to write it in a way that the prologue will be just about this scene, and then the next chapter will be in a different location. Then I realized, huh, what if I keep this part all together and the last chapter be like the revelation of sorts? I really like to have that, not necessarily a plot twist, but somewhat the revelation of how things went by. So maybe I'll just head that way instead. I don't know, but the beauty of it all is I have the idea of how I would like to for it to look like, but I don't want to be too specific. I like that this is a daily process, so I get epiphanies from day to day. Whenever I go out and just travel and voyage wherever I wish to, and we'll see how it goes. But the idea that I've had now is I don't want to make sense of like the characters and the creatures in the story as if they're written, because that limits the imagination, I think. Like, I've had this idea for almost a decade now, and we're getting a lot of projects now that establishes Filipino culture. Like Trece, for example, made use of the horror side of things, and I think I'll still use some of the elements there, but I would like to somewhat change things up because, especially when you go to museums, you realize that the culture that we have is a mixture of everything. Some of them are originally from ours, maybe, then some of them are carried on because of the people that managed to sail towards the country. So I would like to make sense of this universe that it's a combination of everything that may or may not have existed. So we'll see. So that's a bit long because this is the first one, but cannot wait to finish this by November 30. So 30 days. So far, I've done 700 words. So I think that's too many, but I'll try to do like one chapter a day. But I have to make sure that I finish all my requirements first. So I still have five things to do. So I'll work on that. See you for this ride. Peace out.